Alex Hormozi just turned his 100 million money models book into a $150 million real life empire. And it wasn't just by accident. There's a secret behind the launch that most people completely missed. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what Hormozi did, why it worked, and how you can apply these same strategies in your own online coaching business, because there's so much there. And trust me, it's not just about writing a book. The real secret is the hidden way he actually launched it. So the very first thing we want to look at is the first lesson. The first lesson from the book and the launch is that attention is the new currency on social media. Hormozi quite literally gave the book away for free, and that basically allowed him to explode his attention on social media. If you look at the amount of sheer volume of ads he was also running before the launch, this tells us something really important. Just how important attention is in this new social media age of content creation, everything else. Attention is one of the most powerful things, because if you're being seen on social media, if you're being seen in your content consistently, you can monetize that into high paying clients for your coaching business. And here's the big thing: short form content is basically what allows you to grow and get seen as much as possible. If you look at Alex Hormozi's stats, one of the fastest ways he actually grew and he blew up was just by using really good short form content and just doing ridiculous amounts of consistency and volume with it. Obviously, a lot of that was his team editing the content, posting it. But when he started, he was just doing so much more than everyone else. He was doing it so consistently, which is what allowed him to grow. And the big key takeaway here is that, one, if nobody knows you, nothing else matters. If you look at Alex Hormozi, before he started posting the content and moving that forward, there's no way on earth he would ever be able to have had the launch he had. But the reason he had it is because he was posting content consistently, building up his followers, building know, like, and trust, that when eventually he put out an ask, it made it so much easier for him to make an insane amount of money from this as well. And here's one of the biggest things we can learn from this. For a lot of online coaches, this model is still replicatable. If you just post consistently and you show up consistently enough and you do the volume and you do the work, when you do put out your asks, they're only going to compound and they're only going to get bigger and bigger with time. So this is so powerful here in terms of being able to grow. The second big lesson from Alex Hormozi's launch is that he built a funnel without selling. And here's exactly what I mean by that. He gave away his book for free. This captured a massive amount of attention and audience, and then he was able to upsell the book into more deal flows and upsell people into working with him one-to-one, working with his agency in terms of working with acquisition.com so he can grow further, right? This non-salesy funnel basically allowed people to come in, get stuff for free that was really high value, and when they got the stuff for free that was high value, there was even more stuff down the line that they could get, which was still valuable, but it was basically people had to pay money for. This basically meant that people coming in were being able to build know, like, and trust even faster, and there's that rule of reciprocity. Basically, who's giving them stuff away for free, they were sitting there watching a presentation for 3 hours, 4 hours long. They're watching the entire presentation. They were getting so much value that when he asked when he put out the offer, it was just the most logical next step for the people there. So here's a very big takeaway: if you can post really good free content that people are genuinely knowing, liking, and trusting you from, and they're watching it consistently, when you are putting your offers out, it's so easy then to actually sell people on the back end. But most coaches make this mistake wrong, where they just post one bit of content and they try and sell off the back of it. It's much harder to do that. It's much easier seamless process to do what Hormozi did, and here's how you can apply this inside your coaching business as well. Post really good content, get people coming in and following your page. Once you've done that, give away lots of stuff for free. Give away PDFs, checklists, cheat sheets, recipe guides, meal plans, whatever it might be, because that's going to get people to trust you even more. And then eventually when they need a coach, you're just going to be the only logical choice for them to work with. And this is the easiest way to do it. Sell later, but hook people in now. Get people hooked into your content, get people hooked into what you do, how you do it, and knowing about you. Then when the time is right, you can sell people onto your coaching program on the back end. This was the second biggest lesson we took away from Alex Hormozi's launch. The third huge lesson was just how powerful having a really strong personal story and authority is. No one doubts Alex Hormozi and his ability to market, get leads, and sell. Because he has such high authority, everyone knows him and everyone knows how good he is at what he does in that specific space. Like, it was a no-brainer for them to attend the training, watch his content, and move forward. But there's a lot of coaches trying to teach stuff and coach stuff that they've never done before, and this makes it really hard to have that authority and actually move people into your coaching. So if you're struggling right now, or if you're starting out, one of the best places you can start is to understand where was you 5 years or 10 years ago, what problems did you have, and how did you solve them? Because if you can figure this out and you just create content coaching people on this exact thing, it'll be infinitely easier for you to get clients, get leads for that business, and actually move forward, right? So that's the first thing here. And here's why Hormozi's strategy works really well. He was first the guy who scaled gyms. Then he built acquisition.com, and after that, he built $100 million offers and now money models. People knew exactly who he was and what he does. But even then, if you look at the presentation, if you look at how he was talking about it, he was constantly reminding people about his personal story, and he was constantly hammering home that authority. The reason he did that is because you have to assume one thing. You have to assume there's always people that don't know you and they don't know what you do, right? This is why it's so physically important that you constantly remind people who are you, what you do, and you always have to assume there's people watching you that have absolutely no idea who you are and what you do, and you always have to be reminding people in your content, and you always have to be telling people and reminding them just how good you are at your job and what you do. If you do that consistently, it's much easier to grow. And the second big thing on that takeaway as well is every piece of content Hormozi was posting leading up to this had high authority, and he always has this, he always does this. It always has high authority, and it always shared his story, right? And it's so powerful always, right? And the biggest thing here as well you want to keep in mind, if you want to grow your coaching business, you want to get clients and leads, you can't just simply share tips and you can't just share problem solving content. You have to share your authority, and you also have to share your story, because that's what's going to make people buy and invest like a high amount of money in your coaching program. Because it's all good having people like you, but they also need to know you, and they also need to be able to trust you that you'd be able to solve the problem that you claim to be able to solve, right? This is where your own personal story comes in handy. This is where your client results also come in handy as well. The next part as well to remember on this point is that authority compounds, and all of this stuff is only going to compound over time, right? So if you're posting content now, 30 days time, 60 days times, 2 years from now, all of this stuff is only going to compound. People are only going to trust you more as long as the content is genuinely helpful, as long as you're showing up consistently. That trust is going to grow. As trust grows, sales becomes easier, and you can sell stuff for more money as well. So don't get discouraged right now if you've been posting for 3 months, for 6 months, and it's not growing at the space you want. The biggest realization is all of this stuff is only going to compound and grow in time. It's going to make it physically easier than ever for you to keep building on it, right? Huge importance there as well. And the last point as well in all of this is just the importance of being able to play the long-term game. Hormozi didn't just cash in on the book, he's compounding on his personal brand. The way he's doing that is by posting free content now and by posting free content now and having posted all of that free content for the last 2, 3, 4 years, right? So if there's any big takeaway here, it's just how powerful free content is, because it's going to make people see you and you're going to be able to speak to the whole world at once if you need to. No one should ever need to speak to the whole world for coaching business, but you can literally speak to anyone in the world. This means that you don't need to be on endless sales calls. This doesn't mean you need to speak to like really bad quality leads, because your content is there qualifying the right people in and moving them forward into your coaching. This is why this is insanely powerful. And long-term game here is what's going to make it easier than ever to grow. And I speak to a lot of coaches on this as well, where they're trying to do random stuff. They've been told to sell things like low ticket, like £97 ebooks. The reality is that has no compounding avenue whatsoever. You're selling a $97 ebook once. People usually that are going to buy low ticket stuff and like low price point stuff are usually not the people that are going to pay high price points. So you're just pushing the wrong people into your business. You're going to not enjoy working with them. And if anything, having worked with some huge fitness influencers in the space, usually the low ticket people have the highest amount of expectations. They want the most for the least amount of time and effort like possible, right? They're going to refund, they're going to want refunds, they're going to dispute payments. They're going to be typically a nightmare to work with. So it makes so much more sense to play the long-term game, build a coaching business where you can charge premium prices and attract the premium clients will be the first thing. But the second thing as well to keep in mind is that content is one of the biggest things you can do to have long-term foundations and stability and safety and growth in your coaching business. Because if you structure content the right way, like videos like this, like longer videos or shorter videos on Instagram, these videos are only going to be one of the biggest things in terms of getting people to know you, like you, trust you. And it's going to mean two things. It's going to mean you're not going to have to be on endless sales calls, and it means you're going to have to message people cold all the time to get clients, because the content is speaking to people and moving them forward. If you look at Hormozi's presentation and his funnel and how he did things, he just put a link at the end and people were signing up. He didn't have to be on Zoom calls one-to-one closing people. He literally put the link, the payment link, people paid, right? And the reason that works is because he had 2+ years worth of building trust and getting people to know him. His friends were telling him about him. There was so much trust there. And this is why this makes it so much easier to grow. But here's the reality. Most coaches, when they're starting out, do things the opposite from what Hormozi did. They hide from content. They try and neglect doing content, or they try and hide their face away. They try and do voiceovers or pictures. They're not showing who they really are in their content. They're hiding away. This is the first big problem. The second thing they try and do is they sell as low as possible when they're starting off. If you look at Gym Launch and what Hormozi did before he did the acquisition.com and all of this stuff, he was launching gyms at a really high price point. He was showing people how to launch gyms, right? Really high price point, completely different to what he's doing now. So like selling at a higher price point than the average in the industry is going to mean that you attract higher clients and it's going to be easier to grow. So stop trying to hide behind low ticket coaching. And the third thing coaches do completely the opposite, which is wrong, is they literally don't storytell really at all. If you look at the presentation, if you look at how Hormozi launched and made so much money in that time frame, it was constantly storytelling. He was storytelling about his journey. He was storytelling about what he helped clients do. He was storytelling about school and school.com and how well that's doing. There were so many amazing stories in that launch, in that presentation, and that's what allowed him to basically trigger people and get people emotionally invested to actually work with him and pay the money, right? And this is why it's so important to not avoid storytelling, not just post around them before and after and just say, you want results like this? DM me. No one cares. People only care about the emotions and the stories attached, right? So this is why it's so powerful to actually go heavy on the stories, go heavy on the emotions, and a really easy framework anyone can use if they struggle with storytelling and content is write down these exact 3 bullet points before filming content. 1, what's the story of the post? what's the lesson, what's the offer. If you have these 3 bullet points, it's infinitely easier to create content, it's infinitely easier to structure storytelling posts to actually sell people on it as well, right? And here's a big key moment from all of this, right? Hormozi's launch here shows us one thing, and I actually think this is like the 4-minute mile, a little bit in the e-learning, coaching space, all of this stuff. It shows us just how high of a ceiling there is inside a coaching space, because Alex Hormozi made anywhere between $100 to $150 million from one single launch. Yet there's coaches out there struggling and saying the space is too saturated and you can't make 3K, 5K, 10K per month in the space. Hormozi's just done crazy numbers in the space, and if that doesn't show us one thing, that the space and the fitness coaching space and the online coaching space is only going to keep booming and keep growing, I don't know what else will. So I think there's so much limiting beliefs here that we can shatter and break just by seeing what Hormozi did. And here's a big thing as well. Hormozi's launch shows us one thing. It shows that giving people upfront value quite literally dominates long term and allows you to beat people. Because if Hormozi, who's a multimillionaire and potentially a billionaire, can give this book away for free and get people to sign up into the other stuff he had on the back end, what's your excuse to not share content daily on social media to be able to grow your coaching business? If a millionaire can do that in order to grow his business, then what's my excuse? What's your excuse? There's literally no excuse as to why you can't be posting content to grow. So just to recap on this video, there's a few big things. Right now, attention is the new currency more than anything else. If you're not getting seen on social media, your business simply doesn't exist. Free funnels and offering things for free on social media works infinitely well to get clients. It's one of the best and fastest ways to build trust and move people into your coaching. Authority compounds, but you need to always hammer home your personal story, your personal story, and really hammer home all the stuff you've achieved, because you always have to assume there's someone watching your content that has absolutely no idea who you are and your accomplishments. So you have to be able to hammer that home in your content consistently. And the 4th thing is to be able to play the long-term game by posting consistently, showing up. And if you do that, that's only going to compound and make it easier and easier for you to grow and build and scale your coaching business. So look, I've personally helped hundreds of coaches start, build, grow their coaching businesses. If you want to see exactly how we can start growing your coaching business and get you unstuck from where you are to where you want to go, there'll be an application link below if you want to work with me myself personally. But audit your coaching business right now, understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and come up with a unique strategy and game plan to get your business moving forward. If you want to book at that call and you want to apply for that, if you click a link below, you'd be able to do that below. If you found this video helpful, it's a slightly more unique video. Make sure to hit subscribe because there's tons more content coming just like this, and make sure to hit like as well so I know to be posting more content just like this moving forward.